everybody, and welcome to the Fanatical Postgame Show. What a dud! We are the Fanatical Elves Network, and we're talking Cleveland Browns football, and there wasn't much of it on this glorious sunny day here in the state of Ohio. It was beautiful weather, but I think it needed to be rainy and dreary. Joel, welcome to the program. And
thanks for having me on.
Yeah, they get embarrassed 28-3. How you feeling?
Look, I'm cool, man. It's okay. It's okay. We lost to the Ravens. The Ravens are 3-1. The Ravens so far have beaten Joe Burrow, who was injured, and they've won 2 games in which rookie quarterbacks were making their NFL debut. So before we put the Ravens into the greatest team of all time category, let's just remember who they've beaten so far.
I think, we were all a little bit surprised. Steve Gill was on this morning as we got word that Deshaun Watson was going to be sidelined today. And so we talked a little bit about that on the pregame. Knowing that and going into the game, I think we were hopeful that DTR would do some things, not have to do too much to manage the game, but we were really counting on the Browns defense. It didn't help in this game. It looked like they kind of got off to a pretty good start defensively, but then gave up a very short field where the Ratbirds took the ball like at the 10-yard line, were able to score, which we haven't seen a lot of opponents doing that. So I think that was tough. And on a hot day down there, I know it was hot down here in Columbus, 80 degrees plus, and I'm sure it was tough conditions for the defense to be out on the field for the length that they were. And they talked about that during the show or during the game. What are your, were you disappointed with what the defense did today? What are your initial takes on that?
So I'm not really disappointed with the defense, and anybody that thinks the defense is like not good, I think you should just take a step back and relax. So here's what was going on in the game. First of all, the Ravens have decided after 3 games to completely abandon the air raid. Now that's, whole preseason worth of crap. And then they come out in this game. They don't do any air raid stuff. The Browns were prepared for that. The Ravens are pretty much just running an offense is what they're doing. And what they're doing, and just get into some technicals. I'll try to keep it very understandable, but I'm going to go into a little bit of technicals here. What they're doing is they're basically attempting to use Jim Schwartz's ability to coach against him. That's what they were trying to do today. So a defense that the Browns are running is a very key heavy defense. So they're going to read their keys and run to the ball. So what the Ravens were doing were running plays called key buster plays, where you would make all the things that people are keying, like offensive linemen, running backs, whatever, look like it's one particular play. And the defense will flow in that direction because that's what their keys are telling them. Then they'll run a person the other direction, or they'll run a pass, or they'll do something that the key isn't telling them is going on. So those are called key busters. And the idea behind a key buster is to create doubt into the defense's mind. So when you start to read your key, you're saying, but is that really what they're doing? And so that was the point. But the only thing the Ravens really got going on offense were these key buster plays. And what that should tell a Browns fan is that the defense is extremely well coached. They're extremely disciplined, and they read their keys and they react, which is all you can ask for in an NFL team or a team running this kind of defense. So it's a top-level defense. But what they were doing was attempting to take advantage of the fact that they are a super disciplined, super well-coached defense and use it against them.
Okay, but why don't other teams then do this to the Browns? Then since they're super, fundamentally sound, why aren't they doing these other key plays in the first?
So here's some things that's gone on in this game. So some defensive tackles got blown downfield. I'm talking about Maurice Hurst. You know who I'm talking about, Maurice Hurst. Ended up getting blown downfield.
He's got the belly, he does the whole belly.
Yeah, the whole belly. I mean, he's not a bad player, okay? Yeah. But you have to be more disciplined on the backside. And the Browns, as they read their keys and they trust their keys, become a little bit less disciplined on the backside. And so the backside's running. So what the Ravens did was say, okay, we're going to show you outside zone to the left. But then we're going to hand the ball off in a read option style play. Right? We're going to give the ball to the running back, cutting against the blocking pattern. But since the defensive end is coming down, is undisciplined, coming down. Okay, I wouldn't say undisciplined, but they're coming down against their keys, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
they can slip around the backside because there's nobody there. It's an extremely risky style play for an offense to run because if your whole offense is geared or running one particular play, then you do the exact opposite. You could be running into 11 players.
Yeah.
You're running,
Right.
you're going to get yourself hurt. All
Yeah.
right. That's how teams get themselves. So teams don't do this all the time because
Yeah.
it's extremely risky. But the Browns haven't seen it this year yet. So they've had no reason to sit back and say, okay, we have to be careful. We have to read our keys and react, but we also have to play the cutbacks. We all have to play these other things.
Yeah.
They haven't been burned by it yet. So now they got burned by it. And that's the only thing they had going for their offense today.
Second half, it seemed like they did play a little bit defensively better. It was 21-3. I mean, to be honest, it was 7-3 for a good chunk of change. There wasn't until the last 5 minutes of the first half where, again, it was a combination of the Browns defense being out there at great length and then DTR, just like you said earlier when we were texting, running around with like a deer in the headlights. He was just off kilter. I guess let's shift. We can come back to the defense here in a little bit. The other big thing that everyone's talking about is, okay, so Deshaun's sitting. We kind of have to figure that Kevin Stefanski and the Browns offense worked with DTR all week. And the fact is that DTR threw the ball 36 times. I don't know how many rushes the other group had. I think we ended up with 93 rushing yards, but one of that was a pure strong run late in the game, which I didn't even see, for 40 yards.
When they put in their Pro Bowl quarterback Tyler Huntley, I turned it off.
But I guess so Joel, the idea that DTR goes in there and all these passing plays, and I know you kind of said, well, we don't really have an established run game yet. We haven't seen a lot from Jerome Ford, which is true, but even if it's meaning 3 and outs, I mean, they were taking big risks, and DTR was just not ready. He was underthrowing the ball or overthrowing the ball or throwing the ball 5 yards behind the guy. And he was getting guys, and I was worried for DTR. There were a couple of hits that he took, man, where he's fully exposed, then gets crushed on his backside. I guess, did Stefanski do enough with the, screen plays? Did they try to do some of these things, or because it just seemed everyone was discombobulated? The offensive players seemed like they were not interested. I mean, the play at the beginning of the game with Elijah Moore running around with his head cut off. I mean, my God, he looked like a chicken back there. He took a 20-some yard.
He lost 20 yards.
Yeah, for God's sakes. I mean, and then on the first down, the Browns actually get some momentum in the second half. It's 21-3 yet. They get a first down, I think, on a personal foul or a face mask, and then they decide to push it back, or they have DTR going straight back again, and he gets pummeled for a 10-yard loss right off the bat again. It just seemed discombobulated, and I just wish Coach Stefanski, Steady Eddie, would be a little bit more. I guess there's just this up and down flow with him that just always has fans and myself critical of him. So where are you at with all of this? Because I know that I'm more critical than you are about.
Well,
everything.
Let me just start addressing the whole gambit of everything you brought up. So let's start with Elijah Moore. Don't ever give him the ball again, period. Like, throw it to him. I don't care. Don't let him be a running back, because that guy is the equivalent of like a peewee football player that knows nothing but run to the edge, like beat everyone to the edge and cut the corner. He could not identify a hole if a Mack truck ran through it. And you just got to stop giving him the ball in the running back. I mean, I thought, oh, yeah, Elijah Moore is going to be this great running back option. No, he's not. He's not. Stop doing it. It's garbage. I'd rather see DPJ run around the end when he has half the speed, and at least he can hit a hole and run up the middle. So stop giving him the ball. So that's one. Two, Dorian Thompson-Robinson is doing his first ever NFL start. Okay. That's a lot. Okay. It's a lot, because the quarterback has to come up, identify the play, see if they're in the right play. If they're in a pass play, they put the coverages out there. But if they're not the one setting the offensive coverage, like the pass protection, then the center needs to set the pass protection. And who else got hurt in that game? Ethan Pochik, right?
Yes, a couple times. Yes.
So if Pochik isn't out there to set the protections, and DTR isn't comfortable yet setting the protections, then the Ravens are going to just disguise the crap out of things, and they're going to be coming at them full bore. So that's one problem that was going on. Okay, the protections weren't called correctly, and that's not because of, DTR is not prepared to do it. You see veteran NFL quarterbacks that don't do that
Yeah.
because they have centers that do that, and our center was hurt, and then you've got Nick Harrison there, which means Joel Bitonio setting the coverages, and you don't want your guard setting the coverage,
Yeah.
or you have DTR setting the coverage. So that's going on with why he's running for his life back there. That's one. Two, why is it that every time he's throwing the ball, the Ravens seem to be right there and making the play? Because DTR is staring down his wide receivers. Okay. That's another rookie first start situation you have going on.
Yes.
He can go up to the line of scrimmage, identify what his best options are, and then stares down the option. So by the time he actually throws the ball, everyone on defense can converge on where that ball's going because they're reading his eyes. Right. And that way you've made the game extremely easy for the defense. Because one, you're giving them free rushes at the quarterback, and two, you're staring down your wide receivers. So the defensive back knows exactly where the ball's going. So what's the other option here? The other option here is to run the football and become one-dimensional. Okay, you can do that. You could even run DTR off read options, but you really don't want to do that because I don't even know who the next quarterback is. So you don't want him. You don't want PJ Walker out there. I've seen him play in Carolina. You don't want him out there. So
what are some of the other veteran free agents out there that we know of? I mean, I was pleading for that on social media going, who do we got next?
I'll get to that. Let me finish my offensive analysis. You asked, you're getting it. So then you're left with running the football. Okay, you can only do that so much before the defense just decides they're going to shut the football down, running the running game down. The other problem you have out there is Jerome Ford. Jerome Ford starting his second NFL game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So at this point, second NFL game.
Yeah.
So at this point, he understands what he's supposed to do, but I don't think the speed of the game, I don't think he understands the speed of the game because he wants to run up to the hill and then run up to the hole and then cut into it. Right. You have to attack the hole in the NFL.
Even
you have to attack it.
Even there was a play late in the game, third quarter or fourth quarter, even where he went for 9 yards. But even the way that he ran that play, it was so slow. It was like he was stuck in molasses. I was thinking if that was Nick Chubb out there, we would have had 25 yards on that play. He got 9 or 10, but I'm okay.
Nick Chubb has been guilty of this in the past, but he has corrected it this year, except now he's hurt. But when you run slow to the hole, that allows the backside chaser to catch up to you. So the whole game, I'm watching these backside defensive ends just run forward down from behind. Even if it's 3 yards down the field, they're still running them down from behind. How do you solve that? Well, you solve that by having DTR take off on a read option, which you don't want to do because you don't need him hurt because you got PJ Walker back there. You can't put him in. So the Browns were pretty much just screwed when it comes to this game. Right. That's what's wrong with the offense.
Yeah, I think it was just too. I think the idea, you're right. And I think fans were just trying to slow, how could we have slowed the game down, not run so many plays, it just seemed like I understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to get some bigger plays down the field, but man, I tell you, DTR I don't know what it was with his throw. I don't know what it is with his mechanics. I think we're so used to seeing someone like Deshaun Watson that DTR seemed like he was almost pushing the ball, or his throwing motion is just different. And
he doesn't have the arm Watson has. Let's be clear. If he had the arm Watson had, he'd be a first round pick. So he's not throwing the ball down the field like Watson is.
But
two, most of his throws, he was retreating or he wasn't set and making the throw, which robs your arm power when you're throwing.
Sure.
Which is exactly why they didn't start Watson. If he doesn't have the arm strength to push the football down the field, they didn't want him out there.
Yeah, you wonder what's really going on with Watson. They said there's nothing, it's just soreness still, or
I heard fluid on the rotator cuff.
Okay.
If he's got a busted bursar sack, we're screwed. I'm just saying that. But
the argument or the debate before this game started, and maybe you saw some of it out there in social Butterfly land or wherever you get your social media posts. Baker Mayfield, he played through the injury and he was injured all season, and but now Deshaun, he's sitting out. He's not our franchise quarterback because he's not gutting it out. So there's this two frames of mind that fans have right now of Deshaun. Obviously, there's that part of the fan base that just loathe anything about number 4 right now, just because, and they're the ones who are just, they're on the Baker Mayfield bandwagon. Then it doesn't help when Baker wins the game today against New Orleans and throws for 3 touchdowns and helps their Buccaneers go to 3-1. But I
So
guess
what do I make of that whole thing, as you're asking?
Yeah.
Okay, let me point out to the Cincinnati Bengals. Cincinnati Bengals right now are 1-3 and their quarterback is hurt. Now, had they sat him 4 games, they probably would have been 1-3 with a healthy quarterback going into next week. But instead, they're 1-3 and they have an injured quarterback going into next week. So where do we want to sit? Do we want to have 2-2 and an injured quarterback going into the bye week, or do we want to be 1-3? I mean, I can't even guarantee we're going to win that game. 1-3, or we go 2-2. Let's say we actually win that game. He gets further hurt. Then we're down Deshaun Watson after the break for another 3 or 4 weeks. The best thing to do, it's week 4. 4 of 18 weeks. Okay. So just sit him down, get him healthy, get back going.
Okay. So I shouldn't be pressing the panic button. Let's say on defense, let's go back to the defense again, because I was hoping that going into this game, despite knowing all this about DTR and what we probably were going to see, I was hopeful that we would see some positives, which didn't seem like we had much of that. But I was banking on the defense kind of doing and playing with that kind of mojo that had gotten to this point. And it just seems that everything got lost in this game. There wasn't as much, the body language was not as geared up. And obviously they got worn out.
Yeah, being tired will do that to you.
Yeah. So I think they're supposed to be superhuman. Where do you think this, lands? I mean, should we not be worried? Because right now, I mean, the defense gave up they gave up 131 yards on the field.
For the day, the whole day?
131, which isn't
They
awful.
gave up 131 yards in total to the Ravens offense.
No, 131 yards on the ground. They gave up about 300 rushing yards. And they gave up about 300 and I had it up earlier, but
so I guess my point is, don't panic. Okay.
Yeah.
When your offense is out there going 3 and out all the time, your defense is going to get tired. This is how the Browns have been beating everyone else. Right. You get a 3 and out, get your offense on the field and let them just run down the field. Right. When you go out there and you're on the field for 60, 70 plays, you're going to be tired. This is how the Browns lost football games for all those years we've watched, right? They're on the field forever, right?
Yes.
And see, this is where I went back to, I don't know if I've said this on the air, where the Ravens just basically abandoned the air raid, because the air raid is about throwing the ball deep, scoring quickly, and getting off the field. In this game, they basically just ran the offense that they had ran before with the previous offensive coordinator. I can't think of his name right now.
Okay.
But they're basically running powers and traps and all this stuff that Todd Monken normally doesn't run. Okay. And they're running short passes. This is what their offense has been for a long, long time. They've kind of gave up on the whole let's just chuck and gun kind of stuff. Well,
let me ask you this about just Lamar Jackson. I have to give it up to Lamar a little bit. He dropped a few dimes. A couple of those passes he made were passes that I'm not customary, it's not used to seeing that from him, but that one that he made late early in the game, it was beautiful. I mean, he put it over, and then the late touchdown pass where he threw it to Andrews, who's, a giant. It looked like, 3 of our Browns were going to be able to at least tip it or get a pick, and they weren't able to do any of that. And Andrews,
that's like pass. Johnny Manziel in college, right? We're just going to throw the ball up, let the tallest guy in the field catch the ball. I'm not saying Lamar Jackson's a bad quarterback. He got lucky with a across the field throw.
Yes.
I know the announcers all thought that was a great pass, but that was dumb, and he'll get yelled at for it later, right? You don't want to throw the ball across the field like that. But he did it and got away with it, which means he may try it in the future and get picked, and then he'll figure it out. But that one in the end zone, man, that's just like 5'2" Denzel Ward on 6'6" Mark Andrews. I mean, my God, like Denzel Ward jumps in the air to try to touch the ball, and he like can't even like jump as high as
No,
Mark
I mean,
Andrews'
it
head.
was up there too.
All he
If
has
you
to do is
see,
just put his hands up and catch it. I mean, that's just a matter of I've got a mismatch. I'm
I mean,
throwing the ball high. I mean, that doesn't
yeah,
take a lot of skill. Let's just put it
no,
that way.
but Andrews was even.
Johnny
I mean,
Manziel can do it.
if you look at how high Andrews got on that play, he elevated like off the ground. Like I was like, dude, like that was a great catch. I'll give it up to them for that. So let's talk about a little couple positives in the division. Both the Bengals and the Squealers lost. The Bungles and the Squealers lost today. So the Browns don't really lose too much there in the division. Baltimore is 3-1, while the Steelers and the Browns are 2-2. And like you said, the Bungles are now 1-3. The Steelers go down to Houston, and CJ Stroud, former Ohio State Buckeye.
Yeah, I want to go back and watch this game. I mean, is
Yeah,
that guy
me
for
too.
real?
I know. That's what I'm asking. Like everyone's talking about it today, and I'm like, I got to give it up to CJ Stroud. I mean, and the Houston Texans. I'm kind of glad we're gonna play them later in the season because I think we'll have some ups and downs with the Houston Texans, and we'll see where things land. But I think we got the Texans like in week 13, 14, or 15. And then I don't know who won the Bears. This is a totally different subject, but the Bears. Do you know who won that game?
Denver won that game.
Denver pulled it out. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
I had him in my pick'em league. Got me some stuff on my pick'em
that is
league.
some serious crazy game there. I think Denver took an early lead, and then Chicago jumped out to like a 35-7 lead or something crazy like that, 28-7, and Denver was able to climb back in there. But it's always good to see the Squealers lose wherever they go. They had a big following down there in Houston. All those Pittsburgh Steeler fake fans down there in Houston. They all try to. Well, come on, man. I mean, come on. The Steeler fan base, they're a bunch of losers. Come on, I have no respect for the Steeler fan base. I mean, I have a few because the guys that help run the Fans First Sports Network. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, all you guys out there. But besides that, most Squealer fans are just idiots. But okay, I'm back.
Refs couldn't save him this game. Refs couldn't save him from CJ Stroud.
Yeah, I got to go back and watch that game now. And then the Bengals just it's funny. I mean, they got beat up by Tennessee, and we beat up Tennessee. And Derrick Henry had a hell of a game, from what I hear.
Well, I mean, Ellie and I kept talking about how the Bengals defense is not what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not, so their goal was to go out there and, just outscore their opponents and hope the defense can just limit them enough that they can win. So when your defense is bad and your quarterback, I don't want to say bad, but it's mediocre now. And your defense is mediocre and your quarterback's hurt and he can't really connect like he needs to. I don't know what you're going to do here. I mean, this is what it looks like. Like I said earlier, they should have just like sat him for the first 4 games, took it on the cheek, and then said, "Look, we're gonna play the white flag on the first quarter, and then we're gonna play the next, 12, 13 games with a healthy quarterback." They'd have been better off like that. I mean, they've started 0-2 the last 2-3 seasons.
Mm-hmm. Now they're 1-3. This is a little bit bigger of an issue for them. And I think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback, but he is injured and he's not getting healthier, like you said. So from the perspective of a Browns fan, yes. I mean, we're sitting Deshaun. I think all of us are hopeful that this extra week, this bye week will help, but then there's going to be a lot of pressure mounting as we get close to that San Francisco game. San Francisco is playing lights out right now. They seem like they're one of the best teams in the NFL. It'll be another test for our Brownies come October 15th. How do you see that? Yeah.
I think the important thing for that game is for Deshaun Watson to get healthy. That's got to be number one. Just get him healthy. If we can get him healthy, we're going to be golden, I think. Now, it'll be a good game. It'll be rough. It'll be a difficult game, especially with their running game and Kyle Shanahan's offense. But I think the Browns are up for the task. I really do. I mean, I think the defense is that good. Now, Shanahan will have some key buster plays, some misdirection stuff that might get some points. We can't expect this defense to hold teams to 7 points over 3 weeks for the entire season. I mean, obviously it's a really good stretch, but they're gonna give up points. It's an offensive league. It's just you need Deshaun Watson. And I know people think, oh, Deshaun Watson this, but or say, oh, Deshaun Watson's not back. I mean, what do you want from the guy? He just dismantled Tennessee.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Had over 150 QBR. Like, that's Deshaun Watson. That's what we've been waiting for. At this point now he's injured, but get him healthy, get him back in that single back set or that shotgun set by himself, and just let him pick people apart. Don't try to force him to do something he's not comfortable with. Just let him go back there and pick people apart.
I like that. Yeah. Well, we're all hopeful of that. So the Browns, this was the 4th year that the Browns started at 2-1. And last year at this point, then things started to kind of go south again. We're hopeful that the Browns can get back into the win column when they play San Francisco. Then they have to hit the road. They play Indianapolis. And then I believe they go out into Seattle, where they have not had much success over the years. So there's a lot to look forward to, a lot of anxiety for us Browns fans as this early part of the season. It's kind of an up and down thing, but the idea that we're at 2-2, we're not 0-4, 1-3, which was what I was fearful of as a Browns fan going into this bye. And so at least they got to 2-2. So we have to look at it in that perspective. And there's still a good chunk of the season. Hopefully, it makes me a little nervous though. And like you said a little bit earlier about this shoulder injury for Deshaun, we don't know. And shoulders are such a funky thing. And with him being a quarterback, and knowing the experience that we've had watching a quarterback already in Baker Mayfield struggle with his shoulder injury in the past, it makes us all a little bit nervous.
Well, I will say this: if he's not 100% come the San Francisco game, they should just sit him because San Francisco's an NFC opponent. Okay, the game's iffy to start with. We've already watched Pittsburgh lose to the team. So in terms of tiebreakers, in terms of like how this is going to roll down, every team in that division is probably going to lose the 49ers. I don't see the Bengals beating them. I don't see the Ravens beating them. I don't see anybody beating them right now in the division. So if you lose that game, it's going to look bad because you're 2-3. But at the same time, you don't want to lose Deshaun Watson to an NFC game that is going to be ultimately meaningless in terms of tiebreakers within the division. Like if you were going to force a game, this would be the game force, but not even that because it's week 4. Just go out and take care of your opponent. You get another shot at the Ravens, right?
Ravens play, I think, the Bengals next weekend. I think it's Ravens Bengals next week.
No, they played.
No,
they played last week.
No. So it's Ravens Steelers. Ravens Steelers next. Yeah,
and I can see the Ravens beating the Steelers.
Yeah, that game's at Pittsburgh. All right, so let's this afternoon or this evening, are you going to be watching the Kansas City Chiefs and Travis Kelce and who's that girl? What's that girl's name? Oh, that's right, Taylor Swift playing the New York Jets.
I had to ask my wife who Taylor Swift was. So that's how much popular culture I know. Like, who's Taylor Swift and why do people care?
Taylor Swift is flying on the Kansas City Chiefs team planes these days. My gosh.
Though so that's a distraction.
I will say that those Patrick Mahomes, the State Farm commercials, this latest one with him and Andy Reid where they're eating food, like hamburgers and French fries. I love that commercial. I think Andy Reid has a future in Hollywood. I just love listening to Andy Reid. The commercial where he's drawing the fake
that's one of my favorite
fake mustaches. I mean, the guy's a natural, right? I mean, I feel like we could be, stars maybe. Well, it gives me hope.
I think his best role is the Kool-Aid Man. Now he hasn't played it yet, but I think he could get like some serious cash off Kool-Aid Man. Oh yeah,
I love that. Oh, I love it. I love it. Or he could do the old Denny's commercial thing, right? Because of the Denny's thing that he has. I don't know. Well, hey, Joel, thanks for joining us here. We are part of the Fanatical Elves Network. We just love the fact that you guys who are listening, if you're watching us live, follow us also on Apple, on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on TuneIn. Like Joel, I was telling you earlier, our downloads have skyrocketed over the last few months. We were 45% more downloads than the previous month. And even today, we're just blowing it out of the water here with downloads. We appreciate all you Browns fans who are tuning in and listening to us. Spread the love, spread the word that we are a great group of guys that just like talking Browns like you. And Joel has his What the Elf Was That? He had a great show last week. He brought on his former college roommate for half a semester and college quarterback from what was the school?
Well, I went to Olivet Nazarene.
Olivet Nazarene. It was great
Yep.
listening to that and listening to his your buddy's take on offense and being a quarterback, and just really enjoyed that show. Joel brings a bunch of great guests on and some great perspective. So I would encourage you to tune into that show. He also helps out with the Browniacs and joins us sometimes in the Fanatical Elves show on Thursday nights. We're going to be doing a giveaway. By the way, Marie won our ball cap for the What the Elf. And so she was wearing that ball cap today, but unfortunately it did not bring the Browns much luck. But we're going to be doing more giveaways, and our tickets, we gave away our tickets today for the game against the Ravens. So our winner there got to watch the Browns not play very well, but hopefully they enjoyed some good concessions and the nice sunshine. I'm kind of nervous about this whole thing, like going up there in October, because those stupid ass midgets, like those little bugs, those little things that come off of Lake Erie.
Did you say midgets?
Midgets, or what do they call those? Midgets?
I don't know, but I don't think midget is the politically correct term.
I'm sorry, midgets.
They're called little people.
No, I didn't mean that. Never mind.
Can't say these words, John.
No, I can't.
You're gonna get us canceled.
Yeah, okay. Last year it was one of those moments where they had all these, these little bugs, and they were everywhere, and people were just trying to keep them off their clothing and their faces, and it was like people in the stands. It was the whole game. It was just awful. But
just trying to stay alive.
Well, Joel, thanks for coming on. I know you kind of had a little bit of a cold this week and coming out of that, and so I'm sure you're going to have a great show. I look forward to hearing what you have to say about those in the Ravens hate segment. Do you have anything in Ravens hate segment that you'd like to share before we leave everybody?
I will tease something else besides the Ravens hate. Besides the Ravens hate, I mean, like, God, this team just beat 2 rookie quarterbacks making their first NFL start and a injured Joe Burrow. So again, don't think that this is the greatest team to walk on water or like the second coming of Jesus here. I mean, they've kind of had a lucky run on their schedule of hitting the right teams at the right times. They've kind of had it a little easy. And then they're going to play small hands. What's his name over in Pittsburgh next week?
Yeah. Kenny Pickett.
I mean, come on, they can't even beat Houston, who's starting a rookie. But I will tease this. The Borg are back. The Borg got some stuff going on. Josh Harris and his group have already offended the Native Americans and have their first lawsuit filed against them. So the NFL is back, baby.
This is great.
They clarified their gambling policy after telling us that it was completely clear and there were no misconceptions and it was not confusing at all, but they did feel the need to clarify it. So they clarified their gambling process. So we'll go through that on What the Elf Was That this weekend, next coming Tuesday.
Excellent. So. Well, we're going to have, instead of Victory Monday tomorrow, we're going to have, I was trying to come up with a good title. I think we're going to have a dud of a Monday show.
You do Depression Monday?
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. Depression Monday or Downer Monday, Dismal Monday.
Don't
if you have
kill yourself Monday.
Yeah, if you have any
It's
suggestions,
not worth it Monday.
Yeah, it's not worth it. Yeah,
that's what you should call it. It's not worth it Monday. That should be the name of your show. It's not worth it Monday.
Well, with that, we're going to leave everybody. Thanks again for joining us on the Fanatical Postgame show with What a Dud. The Browns go down in embarrassing fashion today, 28-3. I'm glad that we can laugh about losing to those damn Ratbirds.
Okay, it's just football. It's just football.
It's just football. But, Art Modell stole our team. We would have won a damn Super Bowl if it weren't for him. But, okay, I digress. Everybody take care. Go Browns. We got a bye week, but we'll be bringing it to you this week. Believe me, we got, like I said, Joel's bringing his the Borg episode part with the What the Elf. So lots of new shows too. Steve will have his Dog Pound South show, and Rod Bloom will have his Browns Blitz, and I'll be bringing you the Johnny Cleveland podcast. Have a guest this week too, special guest. Eager to have him on later this week. So look forward to that. All right, folks, take care. Browns go down to defeat 28-3 today. On to better times. Go Browns.